From Blush Girl Salon, and today I'm here with Tori. I'm going to show you my brunette balayage on her, and yeah, I'm feeling a little silly today. So, and I've got a really bad tan on my hands, so I'm sorry about that. But who doesn't really? Let's be honest. Let's see your hair. She hasn't got tan.
Mine?
I don't have tan. Oh damn, it's just me.
Today.
Okay, I'm just showing you before of Tori. Tori was feeling a little bit dark and she wanted to just bring the brunette color to life and give it some texture and just slightly lighten it, not too much. So what I was aiming for was a nice like textured balayage with like a warm like caramel kind of tone. And surprise, surprise, I'm doing my exact same sectioning again here. But because I want texture, I think my weave pattern's just slightly different. So always doing baby finds on the hairline no matter what though. Just so when your client pulls their hair up, it's always soft and there's never lines. Okay, so I've just done my baby finds around the hairline and now I'm going to move into a much thicker weave for texture. And I just start balayaging this down a little bit. When doing a brunette balayage, I am thinking a little bit differently in that I know I'm going to be blending this out with a level 5. So of course I always still want my balayage to be really good, but I am going to be taking the edge off that line, so it's okay to be a little bit heavier with my weave size, and that's what's going to give the texture. So once I tone this back down to level 6, I'm still going to have strong foil work in there. I think if you go too fine and then you tone down to level, only one level difference, then you end up with nothing left. So you really need to think about what the end result is and what you're going to be toning with, and that helps to decide how you can place your weaves. So nice thick weave. Always make sure you put plenty of bleach on as well. I think that's so disappointing when you pull it out at the end and the bleach hasn't penetrated all the way through the hair. I'm quite heavy-handed with the amount I put on. to a nice fine weave because I'm coming closer to the crown. So I'm doing a nice thick weave, but you can see I'm still making sure that my top's nice and feathered. My placement, like I said from the start, it's always the same pattern, and it's just adjusting the amount of foils I put in and the size of the weave, and that's what determines the outcome. I'm just tipping out around the crown area, just because with this one I wasn't really particularly wanting to work too much on lightening underneath. I'm more just wanting to add dimension to the brunette, so I'm really focusing on the top layer. So just by tipping out a few here, it just thickens it up a little bit on the base. Balayage is such a visual thing, so sometimes I will put my foils in and I will just take a step back and think, okay, where do I want to add some more foils? Where do I feel like it's going to need more lightening? And I will just go back and add them in. I think it's always best if you can figure that out along the way, but I guess with this placement it doesn't hurt to go back and add them in after. I'm doing all my tip out in foil, obviously, because Tori's hair's so dark. Alright, so I just wanted to show you, this is my same placement as I always do. You would have already seen it if you've watched my other videos, but I just wanted to show you how the aim today is just to give her some texture, so that's why I've done a bigger weave, and then I've just tipped out a few around the crown, but overall I don't want to over lighten it, and I really want to focus the lightening that I am doing more around the front. So being a little bit heavier around the front, so basically putting a face frame in. I've decided to go back and tip out straight away. It's another thing I will do. Sometimes I will foil my whole section, go back. Other times I will foil a couple, tip out. So it's spliced almost all the way up to the hairline, and then I will leave my little triangle section here like I always do, and just tip out a few more. Everything's really wide weave except the very, very hairline. So I've just spliced these first couple around here, so baby fine on the very first one, and then the next few a really fine splice, just because I am toning down with such a dark color. I want everything to be a lot heavier than what I would if I was, say, doing a blonde. So it's just good to keep that in mind. I think the heavier the better, as long as your section is translucent, as in it's really nice and fine section, but the actual size of it is quite wide. That's what's going to give you more impact. The problem is when you do a wide section but then you weave it too deep, because then you just get orange. So that's where there's problems. So I just continue all the way back, spacing it out a little bit more now with a nice splice, and just focusing on making sure I get a nice feathered edge. Okay, now I start the tip out process, so focusing on tipping out all the first couple of foils and then just gradually easing it off as I go back. I did only use 10 vol on Tori. She has got a history of lightning and a little bit of damage, so I wanted to be really careful, and obviously I don't need to get her too light because we're toning it right down. Having said that, I still like it to be clean, so 10 vol and nice fine weave. Make sure that you keep the depth of your weave really fine. Can you say fine? Yeah. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. That is so key with all of my techniques. And I'm leaving that section there. I'm leaving that whole section. Guys, I just wanted to tell you something. So the second foil that I go through and do, which you would have just watched me, that's what creates the texture and the strength in the texture at the bottom. So the first foils is creating your beautiful blend, and then your second foils that you come through and tip out, that's where you get those stronger pops on the bottom. So I think that's really key in getting the strength on the bottom. Without doing that, your foils really do get lost. So I really think about where do I want it to be stronger towards the bottom, and that's where I put my tip out. So generally around the face, I'll do most of that tipped out, and then as I go back, I'm just spacing it out a little bit, and that way I'm leaving enough natural to come through in between as well. So onto my toning, I always love to show the result pre-tone because I think that's a really good, I guess, just indication of how it's going to come out. And I'm always aiming to have a good result pre-tone. I bang on about this all the time, but I know as a stylist it's taken me years to really have that discipline at the chair and not rely on toners. for everything. So there was a time in my career where I did that a lot, especially when I was working under pressure on my own. And now I've really, just disciplined and trained myself to not do that. So as you can see, the placement's beautiful and everything's blended, and this toner is just going to bring it all together now. So again, it's one toner. I'll paint it on my roots and then bring it through my ends. The toner is oh my gosh, I wrote it on the post. It is a 5.8, a 5.75, and a 7.34, which is really random, but I just wanted that in there for that really like caramel sort of tone. So almost wanted like it's one of those colors that I call like a cool warm color, because it's not ashy. I guess some people would see it warm, some people would see it cool. I see it both. Doesn't even make sense to me. Okay, so here's the result. Oh, so pretty. Can you see that beautiful texture? Love it. See what I mean? Cool, warm. Anyway, let's have a look. So I'm just showing how it's, accentuated around the face, and then plenty of depth. From Tori, just love and life.